Foundation's pre-release. As per usual, Bad Wolf, link in the description to their website, not sponsored, that is my local store and they're cool. Did a competitive one on Friday and a casual one on Tuesday. Currently filming this on the Wednesday after. Let's take a look at what I built for each of them. Okay, there's a miscellaneous pulls, and here's the actual deck. Quickly run through the interesting stuff that didn't make the deck. Never miss it. Omniscience. Omniscience again, fuck's sake. I guess code card there if anyone wants to use it. And then Alesha, Slagstorm, Elenda, Drakoseth, putting that to the side, that's actually going in a deck. And then some miscellaneous stuff. Yeah, most of this is the pre-release. I also bought colour packs while I was there, just as you do. So, onto El Deco. For this first one, I ended up building Zori's Control, for reasons that will probably become obvious once we see the pulls. So, creature-wise, Skyship Buccaneer, I had drawn into it once, Big Fin Bouncer, got a little use out of it, High Fey Trickster. I do like casting stuff as though it had flash. One of my favourite commander decks is built around doing that, it's brilliant. Cephalidic Mage. I got the Surveil up a couple of times, it's useful enough. Rune Sealed Wall. Yeah, it's nice just having a wall. The Surveil again is pretty handy. So you can just tap it on your opponent's end step to help determine your next draw. Strix Lookout. It's a flyer, I want more flyers. Elementalist Adept is almost good. Like, Flash Prowess isn't quite worth it for this CMC. If it had haste, maybe. Aegis Turtle, I got a lot of use out of this. It also completely fucked me in one game. Sarah Angel, an old friend back in Standard. Felidar Savior, Vanguard Seraph again. Cathar Commando. I did use it at least one enchantment, Authority of the Consuls, which was, it saved my ass basically. Healer's Hawk, which did numbers for me somehow. Savannah Lions, they're only useful limited, but they're a 1-mana 2/1. What's not to like? It's good to see them back. Refute, one of my only sources of card draw. Essence Scatter, nice counterspell. Fleeting Distraction, my other source of card draw. Luminous Rebuke, some removal. Luminous Rebuke, some removal. Make Your Move, some removal. Stroke of Midnight, some removal. Witness Protection, basically removal. And then 2 copies of Day of Judgment. And finally, 2 copies of Revolving Wilds. I mean, yeah. If I pull that much interaction, I'm not going to build Control. Unfortunately. Didn't go so well. So, game 1, I believe, I basically managed to out-temper my opponent and win the round. Don't fully recall who was against that round, but round 2, I was up against friend of the channel, Jamie. In game 2, Aegis Turtle was basically the only creature I had on board for most of it, which meant that, on one hand, he couldn't get through. On the other hand, I couldn't do anything about the Ajani that was slowly but surely ticking up. And then he made 19 caps, and I died. It was still cool to see Ajani get ulted and limited, though. Game 3, I was up against Toff, who was one of the regulars at Stronghold, another local store that usually swings by for the competitive events, because he's a bit fucking good. And I'm proud to say that I went to round 3 against him, which is an accomplishment. He's strong as hell opponent, he had a pretty decent deck. And it was fucking Healer's Hawk that did most of the work in the game that I won. A 1-mana 1/1 flying lifelink. Yeah, I just managed to very slowly wear him down, just a little bit. Very slowly over the course of the game. I managed to buff this very slightly at one point. And he had no flying blockers, so there wasn't anything you could do about it, and the lifelink kept me alive for long enough to finish things, just barely. Yeah, game 3, I crashed out. And the plan was to drop either way at that point, and I knew that I wasn't going to top 3. But the original plan was to go home at that point. Instead, I stuck around, as friend of the channel Toru was on top table. And she fucking placed second. Crack on, hell yeah. Yeah, Anyway, so what I have planned with my pulls from here. One of the omnisciences I can probably run somewhere. I'm probably just going to slap this into me landfall deck. I'm not sure I've shown that one off yet. Either way, it's landfall. It can reliably get, big. It can reliably get enough ramp out to hardcast omniscience. At which point everything gets real strong. It's kind of a 10-minute turns deck, but it's worth it. Niv Mizzet, I'm really hoping this sees a price crash. Because, right. The next big event at Bad Wolf is Guild Clash, and if I pull it, I really want to build the earlier Niv Mizzet that I pulled in a draft event, which specifically goes infinite with this Niv Mizzet. As that one, whenever you draw a card, you deal 1 damage to any opponent. And with this one, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to your opponent, you draw that many cards. And so you draw a card. And you ping for 1, and you draw a card and you ping for 1. And you just keep going. Brilliant. Anyway, yeah, if I can get that combo off in budget, we'll see. The only other thing I have plans for is Drakaseth that's going into a deck that I'll discuss a little more at the end of the video. So, that was casual. That was a comp pre-release. The only other thing that was noteworthy is that Emily, one of the other who was sort of new to pre-release the format and limited the format, managed to both halves of the Blood Bombs combo, was one of 3 people to do so, at least, across both events. As during round 2 of casual pre-release, friend of the channel Maya lost a round to Blood Bombs, realised that she also had Blood Bombs, and then switched her deck to Golgari to take advantage of it. Anyway, I was originally going to build Azorius, and, well, we'll look at my other pulls, and it'll become apparent why. Oh, there's my other 1-1 counter, I was wondering. So we have Authority of the Consuls, we have Kaikar, another Day of Judgment, that will go reprint, cool. Then, a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff. Like, the Azorius land, sure. Another card there if you missed the first one, I guess. Have at it. And where's the so Light Shell Duo, not super worth running, but the Surveil is nice. Skyship Buccaneer again. Uncharted Voyage again, doesn't feel super worth running. Helpful Hunter, a little bit of card draw. I can stay where it is. Healer's Hawk, Fleeting Flight. Twin Blade Blessing, the one that gives something double strike. Luminous Rebuke again, another Twin Blade Blessing. Jareth Through, the removal piece. Fucking Armor Soul Guide, Philadelphia Savior again. Resolute Reinforcements again. Angel of Finalities from Graveyard Hate. Copy of Heir Apparent, I'm probably passing on to friend of the channel Maya, who is planning on building a Heir Apparent deck. Good luck to her. And just, yeah, generally speaking, some decent draw power and interaction in white. Most of which isn't in that pile, just on the ground that, well, it's in the deck. There's a very good reason why I ended up building Izzet, and you'll see, well, you just got a brief glimpse of it. If you recognised it, you know what's coming. If not, you just like my opponents. Well, they knew that it was in the deck, so it was casual. Like, at one point, someone was like, oh, did you just pull that when you drew 3? Oh, no, it's been in my hand for a while, I drew 3 islands. Just casually showing my hand. Anyway, we have Thrill of Possibility, Run Away Together, very nice piece of removal, glad to see it back. Courageous Goblin, Arcane Epiphany, very nice one. I had a couple of Withers in the deck, so I think both times I cast it was for 4 rather than 5. Frenzied Goblin, Offer You Can't Refuse. If I pull it, I may as well run it. Burst Lightning, nice little bit of removal, Think Twice. Another draw piece, Erudite Wizard. I had enough draw that it was just about worth running. Refute again, Burst Lightning again. Another Aegis Turtle, didn't draw into it this time. Courageous Goblin, Vernical Firebrand, which is pretty decent to be fair. Brandborn Cutthroat, Fleeting Distraction again. Thrill of Possibility again. Gold Rain Pick, Firebrand Archer. Swiftfoot Boots, Witness Protection again. I drew into Lunar Insight once, and I can reconstruct my board state from it, because it was, I had Swiftfoot Boots, I had Gold Vein Pick, I had the Cutthroat, I had a Courageous Goblin, and I believe I had another Courageous Goblin. Now, the eagle-eyed among you will have realised the problem here. In that Lunar Insight is draw a card for each different mana value among permanents I control. It costs 2. 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 I had basically every fucking true drop in the deck out when that happened. The worst possible luck. I drew Ant card from 3 mana. Oh yeah, Drake-Catcher was the other one I had out. And I didn't even manage to get a Drake on the go, so at least it was 0 cost. Anyway, yeah. Drake-Catcher I got some good value out of across pretty much every game it appeared in. Brass's Bounty. Now, friend of the channel Maya, not for the first time and not for the last time, asked why the hell was I running this when I showed her in one game that I'd mulliganed this to the bottom. And then I explained why, and she's like, oh yeah. In fairness, I run a lot of dumb shit. I did actually side out the Omniscience, both Omnisciences between games in the comp pre-release, because you got to try for it, you know? Anyway, Secluded Courtyard. As this land entered, the only creature type I ever named was Avatar. Because we pulled fucking Proggy, baby. So, my goal in this event was not to win. Winning was irrelevant. My goal was to get Progenitus on the board in some way, shape or form. And I fucking pulled it off. What can I say? Now, it did come at a cost, though. Because this was round 2 against friend of the channel, Big Josh. He'd pulled Galta and Twinblade Blessing, so he was obviously in Selesnya with the goal of giving Galta double strike. And the first round, he pulled it off and killed me with it. The second round, I had him down to 5 life. I had my Drake-Catcher equipped with the Gold Vein Pick. I had 2 treasures already. And I had 7 lands, and I drew into Brass's Bounty. So I Brass's Bounty to get to 9, and I had enough creatures to swing out and kill Josh, as he had no blockers. And I was on 4 life. And I knew that his only creature was a 3/3, which meant that even on his next turn he wouldn't be able to kill me. And so I swung the Drake-Catcher, and nothing else. I could have won, or I could have hardcast Progenitus. So anyway, I lost. The next turn he top decked a creature with 4 power, and had exactly enough mana to cast it, equip it with his own Swiftfoot Boots, and Rogue's Passage it so that I couldn't block it. 0 regrets, 100% worth it. And then game 3, I was up against Valkyrie, who's like less of a regular, but is a really fun opponent when she's in. And yeah, that didn't go entirely as planned. There was one point where I died, and then looked at my top few cards and realised that I would have been able to get Progenitus out on the next turn. Because I had it in hand for a while at that point, and that was the one where, like, I drew 3 cards from that Withered spell. And she had to just drawn Progenitus, and I revealed 3 islands and said, nah, I've had Progenitus in my hand for a while now. So it's just 3 islands and me Proggy boy. So, what do I have planned for Progenitus, and where have I also set aside this Dracoseth? There is a deck that I'm cooking up for Standard at the moment that is in Selesnya, but we can get either of these on the board, which can be very fun indeed, basically. Because the goal, in short, is to manifest Dread and then flicker it, which means it's exiled and then re-enters face up. So if I'm able to manifest Dread and Progenitus, for example, this exiles, at the end of turn, it returns to the battlefield as a fucking 10/10 protection from everything. Extremely fun. So, yeah, why bother with that? Well, firstly, because and secondly because there's a number of other interesting threats in the format that I can cheat out that way. Like, I just get a copy of Valgavarth. There's the recently reprinted Galta and Itali, and the March of the Machines Flip Itali, and also the Ixalan Galta that lets you shit out a bunch of big creatures. The goal, basically, is turn 1, Forest. Turn 2, Plains, Manifest Dread. I hit something like Progenitus, that enters face down. Turn 3, I cast a Flicker spell. It exiles, it re-enters, I have Progenitus on turn 3. My opponent is not going to have the removal to deal with that early in the game. And then from there, whatever happens, happens. It's not about winning, it's about getting Progenitus or Dracoseth or Valgavarth or some bullshit on the board. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. We're back to the usual looking at deck stuff. See ya.